Hi guys, it's Misty here from Bookaholics Book Club, and here are the books that I read in November. So first up, I read Beautiful Redemption by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stohl. This is the fourth and final book in the Castor Chronicles. I gave this 5 out of 5. This was, it just ended the series really well. It's quite an adventurous read, and a lot happened, and yeah, it's been one of my favourite series. Not the top favourite, but you know, it's a series I've enjoyed. I've read it since it started, and I can't wait for the film next year. So if you do like the series, you'll definitely like the last one. Next I read Zombies Don't Cry by Rusty Fischer. This is about a girl that one night dies, but then wakes up a zombie, so she's undead. It's quite a fun read, quite a lot of funny pages. I gave it 4 out of 5. It was a good story, definitely a new take on zombies that I enjoyed, so that was good. Next book I read was on my Kindle. I read The Kiss Off by Sarah Billington. This I gave 4 out of 5 too. This is a YA contemporary. This was a really fun read. It's about a girl, her boyfriend cheats on her, and she writes like an angry song about it, and that she posts on YouTube, because she posts songs that she writes on YouTube. But when a band decides to cover it, they end up becoming big, so her song becomes big and she becomes a bit famous, and it was just a really fun read. I'm really looking forward to the next one next year. Next I read The Fallen Legacies by Pittacus Lore. This is the third in the Lost Files series, which are like short novellas of the I Am Number 4 series. This is told from the perspective of Mogadorian, which is one of the bad guys. If you haven't read the series, I gave this 5 out of 5. This was really interesting, great addition to the story. It was fun to see, you know, the perspective of the enemy, and why they think what they're doing is right, or how they kind of brainwashed the younger generation to carry on what they're doing. The next book I read was also on my Kindle, but it doesn't have a cover on the file because it's PDF, but it was The Game Changer by Marie Landry. This I gave 3 out of 5. It's another contemporary read. It's not that I don't like it, it just wasn't my kind of contemporary read. It was all a bit too nice for me. I prefer ones with a bit of a darker side, or ones with a lot of humour in, and it just wasn't like that. It wasn't really for me, but it was, you know, a good book. Then next I read The Declaration by Gemma Malley. This is the third in this trilogy. I do have the other 2 books that I didn't go to them straight away. I gave this 3.5 out of 5. I couldn't decide between 3 and 4. You know, it was a good book, but it wasn't the best book I've ever read. You know, I wasn't gripped throughout. I didn't like it enough to jump straight into the other 2 books, but I'm definitely going to read them at some point, and not just because they're already on my shelf. It was, you know, a good book. This is about, it's in the future, and they've figured out how to cure old age, so basically people don't die. But because of that, the world started to get overpopulated, so people have to sign the declaration. If they want the drugs that will make them live forever, they can't have children. But if they choose not to sign the declaration, they can. It's kind of a life for a life, because they will die and their children will take their place. And this is about a young girl that she's in, like in Grange Hall. It's where she's considered surplus because her parents signed the declaration but then had a child anyway. So the child was took away and put in this like orphanage kind of thing where they are not treated nicely and called surplus, and her parents went to prison, and it's all about her and her finding, you know, seeing the other side of it. So yeah, that was a good read. Next I read Reached by Ali Condi. This was probably my longest book of the month, 500 and something. This is the third and final in the Matched trilogy. I enjoyed the first 2 books, so I started this as soon as it came. I gave this 5 out of 5. This was another great ending to a series. A lot of people didn't like Crossed. They find it kind of boring. I actually quite enjoyed Crossed, and Reach was even better. There's just so many loose ends I didn't even realise there were, that were tied up, you know. It was all done really neatly, but as nicely as it ended, I feel like there's more story to it. I'm kind of hoping that maybe the author will write more in this world or something, particularly for one of the characters. Just feels like he's got so much more story to tell that I would like to see, so fingers crossed she'll do something more, or maybe do a short story or something, because I really enjoyed that. The next one I read was another Kindle book, but because it's a PDF there isn't a picture of the cover on there. It was Tough Girl by Libby Heily. I gave it 4 out of 5. It was quite a dark book. It's not quite the way I imagined. It's about a young girl. She's only 11. Kind of lives in a dream world and imagines this girl called Tough Girl and a whole world for her. You know, she hasn't got many friends and her mum has mental issues and doesn't pay her much attention, so she's quite a loner, so she makes up this other world, and when her mum goes missing she kind of spirals into it. It was a very dark book, you know, there was a lot of adult themes in it, what happens to her and stuff, and it's out in January, but I'm hoping I'm going to get my review up real soon for that, because it was a good book. Then the next book I read was Return of the Hungry Hamster by Sam Hay. Obviously this is a kid's book, this is only like 100 pages, I read this in about an hour. But I gave it 4 out of 5, it was, you know, a fun book. This has got pictures and all, because like it really is, you know, a younger reader's book. But, you know, I read it for a bit of fun. I meant to read it around Halloween, but I just didn't get to it. But yeah, 4 out of 5. It's about a boy that his uncle comes back from a trip to Egypt and he gets him this little amulet, and it turns out that it sort of brings animals back from the dead, but only he can see them, and he has to help this hamster with his unfinished business so the hamster can move on. So yeah, it was quite a fun book. Not something that I've read before. Then the last book I read was House at the End of the Street. My daughter got hold of this, so it's a bit bad. She kind of chewed on it and all sorts, so I can't even pass it on really. This I gave 3 out of 5. Obviously this is a movie, but because I hadn't seen the movie I thought I would pick up the book and give it a read. It was okay. You can kind of tell that it's a book of a movie though, just, you know, the way it's quite a quick story. I mean, this isn't even 200 pages, and obviously if it was a book first there would be a lot more detail, a lot more would happen, you know, the relationship would be developed more. So yeah, definitely you can tell that it's a book of a movie, but it was good, you know, for a quick read. She's taking a bite right out of that. Anyway, that is all the books that I read in November. If you'd like to share what you read with me, if you just comment on the blog if you're there. If you're on YouTube, just video link your video, your November wrap up, or what you read, or whatever it is that you do, and I will come check it out if I can. And thank you for watching, and I will see you next month. Bye.